He was always around when there was any sort of calamity. But there were several of those over the years. Ralph McCurdy was drowned, having gone off the wharf.
That's Specky.
That's Specky with the captain's cap in the tan, and this maybe...
I think that's Leo Andrews. I had an uncle that went off the wharf, Fred Rooney.
Henry Rooney films road accidents. He was always around when there was any sort of calamity. It's like Charles Conley, who was a local.
Yeah.
And Charles was always around if the Public Works were digging a trench or installing a pipe. He'd be there looking in the hole.
That one?
Well, I was involved in an accident in that corner, and there it is. That's my car.
The blue one.
The blue one, and that's my tow truck.
Self-service, huh? So that's your truck.
That's my big old tow truck. Now, I recognize a couple of people. Now, if that's Peter Green with the T-shirt, the blue T-shirt, glasses, and reddish beard. I think he may have been working for me at the time. I was driving down King in the big old Pontiac, and someone came through the stop sign. This would have been around 1975 or 6. The car is a 72, and I bought it a couple of years later. I didn't buy it new. That's George Doherty, the big chap with the bald spot. And I believe that's me carrying the wheel cover.
I believe it is, yes.
Look at the sideburns and the long hair. That was very 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's bad luck. So that's your car there?
That's my car, with the tail crunched in. I was traveling down King toward the Water Street, and that other car went through the stop sign.
Of course.
And as I recall, in those days, kids were were never buckled in.
No.
And it was a grandmother having just had her grandson to the dentist, Dr. Tom Taylor, and the kid was standing in the back seat when the collision occurred. And of course he torpedoed over the front seat and was curled up under the dash, unhurt, kids being resilient. Probably the dentist caused him more pain than the motor vehicle accident.
Yeah, goodness. So this is the Volkswagen upside down in the ditch. What's this?
I have no idea.
No idea what this is.
I wonder where it is.
In town somewhere.
No, that's the Shamcook.
Oh, there's the chapel.
That's the Shamcook Chapel.
That's right, yes.
And the railroad crossing.
Yeah.
So it's below the Harkness Road turn. So those Beetles were very popular in those days.
Yeah.
There's something being lowered from my tow truck.
It's close to home, certainly.
When I first went in the station, it was Petrofina, and then of course it switched to Petro-Canada.
So you don't have any special memories of that crash?
No, I don't.
Another one on a busy day?
Well, there were certainly a lot more collisions in those days. People were less, I don't know, they were less careful, or we certainly seemed to have more than our share. The hardware store with their old CIL paint sign. I wonder why so many are gathered on that corner. If there's, they're watching this big crane.
Yeah, there's a big crane that's
come in.
That's Specky.
That's Specky with the captain's cap in the tan, and this maybe...
I think that's Leo Andrews.
Andrews. Any others?
Oh, there's Peter McFarlane right there.
Peter McFarlane.
Yeah.
Who's the guy
Black with the white hat on. Yeah.
Shirt or whatever.
I had an uncle that went off the wharf, Fred Rooney,
Oh yeah.
and I just wonder if that was.
In a car.
Yeah, they pulled a car up.
Yeah,
there.
I think.
Yeah, that was a 1956 Pontiac, white and blue,
Oh yeah.
two-tone.
Can't remember.
So
Oh, it's lifting a car. This is
This is.
one of the cars that went off the end of the wharf. And,
Oh, that's Rooney's Pontiac then, is it?
well, not... See, I can recall 3 cars going over the wharf that resulted in fatalities. And one was Henry Rooney's brother, but I believe he went off the sort of the east end of the wharf. And then there was a case of a car that came down King Street and went directly off the end, and it was always believed it was a suicide. And that car is being lifted from the end, which might tie it to that particular instant. Assuming that's a continuation of the same film, and that's the vehicle that the crane lifted out that I'm towing with the wrecker, then that was the Ralph McCurdy fatality. And that took place in the winter around New Year's. That's one of my cars there. A lot of traffic on the wharf.
They're all being stopped. I think this guy is. Somebody is. He's having to stop.
Rooney must have taken that from the top of the post office, where he was probably janitor at the time. Now there's a convoy coming off the wharf now.
Yeah, that looks like the same thing. So, any ideas?
That, I think, was the truck that Gib Tennant used to haul garbage, that yellow one with the net on it.
This is off the wharf somewhere.
Well, is that the car that Teddy's brother was drowned in?
Possibly.
Freddie Rooney? But there were several of those over the years. Ralph McCurdy was drowned, having gone off the wharf. Also Jackie Storr.
Why would they go off the wharf? Are they drunk?
Well, no one. In many cases, no one really knew why they went off. Whether it was done intentionally, whether they miscalculated. I don't believe anyone really knows. And saddest of them all, I mean, they're all sad, but Jack Storr went off the wharf in his car, and it wasn't found for months. He just disappeared. And,
Really?
And
In the deep end, obviously.
and no one thought to look off the end of the wharf.
Really? Strange.
And eventually, on a very low tide, a boat coming into dock struck something, and they investigated. In many instances, when a car went over the wharf, they lifted it out with a crane. But in this instance, they had hooked a boat to the submerged car and dragged it around the wharf and up to the launching ramp, or the access ramp near where the Day Adventure Center is today. And that, I believe, was the Jackie Storr car that had been submerged for quite some time before the car and his remains were found.
Thanks.
now this is the fellow that flew down there at the point, isn't it? Remember he crashed his plane? He was doing some acrobatics down there,
Was he?
and he was he used to teach flying at the and he built that plane. and I can't think of his name right now. But if that's in fact him, I don't know if it is or not. But he crashed off the end of the point and got killed. Daigle was his name. I can't remember his first. Joe Daigle.
Do you know who that is?
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's one of our old fire trucks. What are they all standing around? Did a motorcycle get struck by a truck? This is out at the corner of Ghost Road and 127. This is where Huey Markey and Pearl Cummings had a country store, a hot dog stand, and several cabins. They had a bear tethered in a little hut, and the bear was quite tame, and people would take their kids out to feed the bear, and many of the older people will recall the bear at Cummings Corner, and I have seen pictures of it.